Hi there, welcome to Mini Math Lessons with Karen, and we are continuing our exploration of statistics, data, simple data, and we're going to explore some data plots, bar graph, histogram, dot plot, and a circle graph or pie chart, and how to construct them sort of by hand, even though the Classpad.net does allow you to use a statistical menu and it will create the plots automatically, but when students first learn, we kind of want them to explore how to create these by themselves. So again, I've provided the free activity link in the description of the video, and you simply paste it into your browser and the activity will pop up. Anyone can use this. If you'd like to save it, modify it, add to it, make sure you create an account in Classpad.net and duplicate it, so that you then have your own copy that you can change as you want. But if you're just happy working in the one that I've provided, then that's all you have to do. So really fun, especially if the kids are home and they have an interest in different kinds of candy. Candy's always a great motivator working with students. So this one uses sample data from an M&M bag, a 1.69 ounce bag of M&Ms, but you can use any kind of candy. In this particular activity, you want one that has different colors, so you could use Skittles or M&Ms or jelly beans, anything that has lots of different colors. And so it starts off with, there's this little video here that basically talks about the way they fill the candy bags is by weight, not by count. And so in theory, since they all weigh the same, are you getting the same number? And that's probably a no. It's pretty close maybe, but some of the M&Ms or whatever candy you're using might be bigger or smaller, way more. So it's by weight. And so we can use our data collection to collect some information about it. So in this particular activity, we're interested in the distribution of the colors, because technically companies, when they put colors, when they put their candy that's have different colors in the bag, there is a percentage that they actually are putting in each bag, so they say. And so it's a fun investigation to try to figure out what is that percentage and is it true for every bag that I come up with, and what's the best approximation. So if they're just on their own, get a bag of candy. The example in this activity uses M&Ms, but preferably get their own data. So basically it says here, collect your data and put your colors down that you have in your bag of candy, whatever it might be, and count the number total of that color and record that in your data. And then they can see the example data here, and this is the bag of M&Ms, this is the sample, and it's talking about, okay, so here's my colors, and here's the total number I had in this particular bag, and this bag adds up to a total of 55. So I got 55 M&Ms in my bag, and this is going to come into play later in our next investigation. And then I'm trying to help them discover, learn about different types of ways we could visually represent this data, the different colors. And so in the example, it tells them to click on these different types of plots so they can see an example of them. So here is a dot plot. And so what's a dot plot? So they're going to explore with the sample data, what is a dot plot? And it looks like each color, 7 red, oh, I have 7 dots, and then yellow, I have 8 dots. So the dot plot is a dot for each number of that color, and we put them next to each other, and here we have the numbers that represents the colors. So 1 represents red, 2 represents yellow. So the dot plot's a nice visual, and we can quickly see just from this, we can also see in the table that the green in this particular bag had the most. We had kind of a similar number with orange and blue. The least was brown, and there was no brown, so I used black instead. But it's a nice visual representation to quickly compare. And if you have many bags, you can use lots of different colors. And so at this point, maybe we guess that green's always going to be the most. Is that true? So let's try our next bag. So this is a dot plot. So then they can hide the dot plot. And so they're just clicking on these, and then they can look at a bar graph. And how's the bar graph similar to the dot plot? Different from the dot plot? Is it easier to read than the dot plot? And then we have a histogram. So basically they're comparing these different representations of the data. And here's a histogram. So what's the difference of a histogram compared to a bar plot? Which one do you think's got the best? So after they explore this with the sample data, they are then told to go back up to their own data and make those 3 plots. And so to make the dot plot, they're going to click on this and use the point tool and make their own dot plot that matches their data. And then they're told to use the polygon tool to make a bar graph. So they're going to get to practice making these by hand using the geometry sticky. So they've got an example of it, then they're going to go practice. Then the next thing is, okay, so here's your data, and so we have the same table. And the nice thing about Classpad is when they fill in their table up here, everything is connected in Classpad. So what's going to happen is this table will automatically fill out as they do it. And so we talk about a circle graph now is taking the data that you collected and comparing it to that total of your bags and creating percents. And so I, again, am using the sample data to show them how they get these percents, and I enter those percents into the table data. So this would be 12% for the red. This is 14, I think. I think I said 13. So 13%, and I think we did 14%, and then this was 22, this was 20. So after I did my calculations, I just enter those numbers into my data here, and this one I believe is 11. So those are my percents, and they're going to then do the same with theirs, get their percent totals, and then we show them an example using the sample data of a pie chart or a circle graph, which basically takes the 360 degrees in a circle and multiplies by the percents that they just found, and basically splits that 360 degrees up into those percentages. And so I've done a circle graph for the sample data, and they're going to then use their percentages and change this circle graph, and they can even change the colors to match their percentages that they've come up with. So it's just a way for them to kind of explore the different types of plots. And then at the end, there's some questions like, describe what each plot kind of does, when would you decide to use a circle graph over a bar graph, just some kind of questions. And then we're going to move to the next activity where we're going to actually go back and explore several bags of the same candy and then connect the measures of central tendency and other displays like a box and whisker plot, and how does changing some of the numbers impact your graphs and your data, those types of things. So collecting data, always fun. The great reward if you're using candy is that they can eat it at the end. So have fun with that.